Hi, and welcome to In the Crease with Karl Moeglein. I'm your host, Karl Moeglein, and we're going to talk about NHL Week 1 and how it has gone into this new NHL season. So, on this show, I'm going to start with talking about some of the teams that are starting out a little slower than they probably would like. Calgary has played 3 games and they only have 1 point, which was in a overtime loss, so that's definitely something they're going to want to improve on. LA, the defending Stanley Cup champs, are still winless after playing 2 games. Carolina is also winless after 2, as well as Washington. Those 2 teams, both from the Southeast. Interesting thing about Carolina, a lot of people said they were going to do really, really badly. Really well, excuse me. I said they would do really, really badly. I was kind of right. Just a slide I told you so. Don't worry. They told me so later in the show. Philadelphia is also winless after 3 games, and they're the team off to the worst start. And I'm going to talk about them a little later in my show on my predictions for the upcoming weekend. Alright, now back up to the teams that have shaken off that rust really, really well. Chicago is the only team after having played 3 games that is still undefeated. They have 6 points. They lead the Western Conference. 2 teams from the Pacific Division are still undefeated. Both San Jose and Anaheim have both played 2 and both have 4 points. San Jose and Anaheim also both have their home openers tonight, which should be very interesting. San Jose has had a very high-scoring offense, as well as Anaheim. They're both making it through games by scoring a lot of goals and having goaltending that is at times not great, but still good enough. For the Sharks, they do have Antti Niemi in net. Anaheim has Jonas Hiller. Both are doing well, and they're both being led by a scorer who is on top of the league with 4 goals. Patrick Marleau for the San Jose Sharks, and for Anaheim, Daniel Winnick, who is really unfamiliar to that position. Patrick Marleau, more familiar. He's been in the league for a very, very long time. Boston has played 3 games and has 5 points, so they're doing pretty well. 1 overtime loss. It's nothing to fret over. Ottawa has played 2 games and has 4 points. That's a really good start for them. They're going to be happy about that. Buffalo is at the same position as Ottawa. 2 games, 4 points. Good thing. Ryan Miller starting in goal. He's a great goalie. Love him. And they're having a better year than I thought they would. So, there's my they told me so moment. New Jersey is also undefeated at 2-4. Martin Brodeur, the 40... Not sure how old he is. He's 40-something. He had a shutout in one of his games, which is completely crazy because he's really, really, really surprising. Okay, I'm just going to say I'm surprised that he did that. Alright, I'm going to go on to a thing that I like to call stuff that happened. It is basically what it sounds. I'm going to talk about the injuries and the transactions, trades, signings, anything from the past week or so. I'm going to start with the key injuries that happened this last week. Joffrey Lupul, hate that name. He's a left wing out in Toronto, and he is day-to-day right now with a fractured forearm. He had a teammate, Dion Phaneuf, take a slap shot. Dion Phaneuf has a very hard slap shot. We'll just go with that. Fractured his forearm. He'll be out for a while. We're seeing if it's breaking or not. That guy is actually very important to me. He's on my fantasy hockey team. Yeah, that's very needed. Matt Green, he's a defenseman for the Washington Capitals, and he's on the injured reserve with a back injury. Mike Smith, the goalie for the Phoenix Coyotes, he's not having a great season, but he is out. He is day-to-day, but he left the game on the 23rd yesterday with a lower body injury. There's a thing that the NHL does. They don't really like to release a ton of information about what the players have. It's normal lower, upper, concussion, maybe a little more detail. Something I've always not enjoyed as much, but you just got to deal with it. Alright, this is something that I probably won't be talking a lot about, or this type of thing. It's retirements. Forward Thomas Holmstrom of the Detroit Red Wings is hanging up the skates. He had an incredible career out in Detroit being a guy who could do it all for them. And he will be very missed by that team and the whole NHL. Best of luck to him. Alright, so Scott Gomez. He's a center. He was with the Montreal Canadiens. He is signed as a free agent to the San Jose Sharks for $700,000 prorated. Basically, it's a one-year contract. And the prorated means that they only have to pay him a certain amount because it's a season that's shortened. So they're only going to end up paying him about half of that. $400,000 should be around where it is. But I think he's going to be great. They need a third-line center right now. They have TJ Galliardi right now, and I think he's a little young. But Gomez is experienced. He was very good back in his first couple years in the league. He has slowed down. The whole reason the Sharks got him so cheap was that Montreal bought him his contract out. They would rather pay him to sit at home than play for them. He was doing that bad. So this is basically not very big risk, but chance of reward for the Sharks, because Gomez should be a good third-line center. I like him there. I think he should fit in well with the Sharks squad. Well, that is going to take the first half of our show. When we get back, we're going to talk about some of the players who are coming off hot and cold into this new NHL season. I'm going to give you my bold predictions for the next couple weeks. And, well, I guess you'll see. This is In the Crease with Karl Moeglein on Spreaker.com, part of the National Sports Network. Hello, and welcome back. I'm Karl Moeglein. This is In the Crease. Now we're going to talk about certain players in this NHL season who have come off incredibly well and incredibly this well. That's not a word. Okay. So, I'm going to talk about the slow starters. I decided that I would only pick goalies for this category. I feel like players don't really have a chance to show what they have yet, so I'm not going to go with players. I'm going to go with goalies. Jonathan Quick, the Calder, not the Calder, Conn Smythe Trophy winner, last year's playoff MVP, kind of a celebrity overnight, over, 3 rounds overnight in the playoffs, but he has a goals against average of 4.09. That is too high for a player as good as him. And he's kind of in the reason the LA Kings are 0-2, and which really, really scares me, because I think he's better than that. Alright, Jimmy Howard. He's the goalie for the Detroit Red Wings. He has a 3.65 goals against average for them. They are doing okay, but they're not doing as well as they should be. They are a team that has great potential, but, with the Thomas Holmstrom retirement, as I mentioned earlier, and Nicholas Lidstrom retiring this year, they're kind of getting old. Howard's young enough, but the rest of the team's getting old, and I'm worried about that team. I think he's just kind of a sign of what I already knew, that the Red Wings are slowing down. It's just a fact. And then my goalie, let's call him my LVP, my least valuable player of the week, Devan Dubnyk, out of Edmonton. He had a rough week. He let in 6 goals against the Sharks in the first period, then got pulled. He only took, I don't remember the exact shot count, but it was less than 20 shots. He has a 0.826 save percentage, which means out of every 10 shots, he's saving about 8 of them, which is not good. A goalie should have at least a 9.2 or 3, if not higher, for the NHL. That is really unacceptable. That's like, take a baseball analogy here. If you had a hitter who was hitting, say, 300, you think he's doing fine. 200, he's slumping. Devan Dubnyk is slumping hard. He really needs to pick it up because Edmonton is a good team, but they're not going to be good enough because their defense is proving itself as what everybody knew it was, and so is their goaltender. They're weak. They cannot hold up against NHL teams. Their forwards can, their defense can't, and that is why Edmonton is not making the playoffs. Alright, now we're going to talk about the rustless players. The players who came back and seem to be skating at full speed right away, which is great. Patrick Marleau. He is out for he's playing for the San Jose Sharks. He has 4 goals and 1 assist, which is great. 5 points. Been a key piece for the Sharks. This is really surprising because Patrick Marleau is very commonly slow starting. He is well known as a great player, and he's been with the Sharks for years. But I'm really excited to see how he plays for the Sharks over the full year and how this shortened season affects him. Will it tire him out having so many games in so few days? Or will it add the energy he needs by only playing those few games? Alright, next is Daniel Winnick of the Anaheim Ducks. He has the same line as Marleau, 4 goals and 1 assist for 5 points. He's kind of shocking to me. And I'm going to tell you why. Winnick has bounced around a little. He's played for multiple teams, and he really hasn't settled in. But now he's got those 4 goals already through the 2 games, which is outstanding. And he's just kind of settling in. He's having the ability to get pucks in the net, and, you can't argue with stats. It's just a fact. Alright, next we're going to look at Thomas Vanek. He is leading the NHL in points right now with 6 of them. 4 of those are coming as assists, and he has 2 goals. The big thing about him is he's a defenseman, which is incredible for a defenseman to be leading the league in points, even at this early point in the season. Alright, I'm going to talk about one more player, and this is kind of a fantasy shout-out, if you will. Ryan White of the Montreal Canadiens, through 2 games, has 29 penalty minutes. He only has 1 fight, too. He's just slashing and tripping away, and he's not like -6 either. He's right on plus minus is 0, which is incredible for a person with that many PIM. So I just kind of wanted to give the shout out for the league's leading PIM getter so far. Ryan White, Montreal Canadiens, 29 PIM. Alright, we are almost done with the show, but after this break we will finish it up, but we're just going to take this quick break. I am still Karl Moeglein. This is still in the Crease with Karl Moeglein on the National Sports Network. We are live on Spreaker.com. Thank you for still listening. Hello, and welcome back to In the Crease with Karl Moeglein. I'm still Karl Moeglein, and this is still Spreaker.com. I just want to tell something. If you like this show, you should like our page on Facebook. That is National Sports. Another thing you can do is go find our website. Just look up National Sports in your browser. You should be able to find that. Great. If you need a little help, just add Spreaker. Also, find us on Twitter at National Sports. We're a great follow. Alright. Thank you. Now I'm going to go into my weekend predictions. Excuse me, right before I do that, though, I am going to give you a score update from the NHL right now. Toronto is leading New York Islanders 3-1. That's midway through the second. Also midway through the second. Flyers in Philadelphia, they are tied. That's big for Philadelphia. They want to get a win there. Montreal's up 2-0 on Washington. That's also midway through the second. Midway through the second, Buffalo and Carolina. Carolina's up 2. And those are my midway through the second games. Now, there's 2 games that are in the first. Ottawa and Florida are tied at 1. And Nashville and St. Louis are tied at 0, but that was a pretty early game, so not surprising. Alright, now we're going to go into my weekend predictions. Alright, weekend prediction number 1. Scott Gomez will get at least 3 points over the weekend. I think he thinks he has something to prove. Nobody else thinks he's going to do anything. He wants to do this for him, and he's going to get at least 3 points in the next 2 games. Just a bold prediction. Flyers will stay winless. They will. They're going to lose twice. It's going to be beautiful. Because nobody likes the Flyers except Flyers fans. It's just a fact. They're kind of... Oh, what team does nobody like? Let's say the Yankees. They're like the Yankees. Nobody really likes them except for Yankee fans. So, the Flyers are kind of like that. Nobody likes them except for Flyer fans. So it's going to be beautiful when they stay winless. Alright, the LA Kings will win Thursday and Saturday. These are their next 2 games. I think they will win both of them. Jonathan Quick is going to be incredible. He won't allow more than 2 goals in either of the games. And I think Dustin Brown's going to pot a couple goals. Alright, that's been it for me here on In the Crease with Karl Moeglein. This is the National Sports Network on Spreaker.com. Thanks for listening. If you like us, find us on Facebook, Twitter, our website, and even if you like us, you should tell your friends, because the more viewers, the better we do. We really thrive on that viewership. So please, if you like us, tell your friends. Thank you. I'm Karl Moeglein. See you next time.